Or you said there's times that you've had what better conversations with strangers and friends that are more memorable.
Yeah.
Is there any specific like event you were at where you're like, yo, I spoke to this person and it's like it made an impact?
Again, the camera guy, and he had no business even talking to me, but he did, and it's just like, man, it's he's speaking to me about, I don't even remember the camera type he said he had, but I like convo so much. He's showing me his gadgets. He's showing a non-camera guy his gadgets, knowing that non-camera dude is not gonna remember. But the questions were just so on fire that, yo, he's taking out his luggage, showing me like his tools, his set, and it's just like me being the camera guy. I mean, me being the convo guy. I started recording him, and it's just like, he felt comfortable. Now he's talking more. He's in his element. So I think that this something I have is I wouldn't say a gene, but it's a potential I have that's already pushing to the surface. And I have to admit, you do have to have a certain look. I have to admit, like, it's me being a tall guy, me being tall has a thing to do with it, because when you have a certain height, when you have a certain height, asking a lot of questions, people perceive you as a reporter without knowing. So psychologically, they're just being hit with having to answer the questions. So I do have to admit, you have to have a certain build to you to get people in that flow for them to be comfortable with continuing to answer your questions. They got to see it in you. And little did I know, like, like, height, now I kind of see why women do want a man with height. Because now me having a certain height, when I go out seeking these people for responses, they're giving it to me. And it's just like, oh, I guess it's just in your favor. Not knowing that, your stature does help. I'm not saying it's a main factor, but it's a small factor that comes a long way if you think about it. Because if women look at height as their everything, it's just like, I want a man with height. And I guess if you're already a man with height going out there in the real world, asking people certain questions is going to be in your favor. As a reporter, I got to admit, you got to have a certain stature. I'm not saying you got to be intimidating, but you just got to approach people, a certain way for them to be willing, stature. I would say you do have to have a good face on you. You gotta be put together low key. People just don't want a nobody just coming to them, like asking them certain questions. They gotta look at you and be like, all right, I don't know what you do, but you look like, based on the questions you ask, you look like you have experience with this. And then, and then you have proof of your height, your face, so it's just like, yeah, they could budge you, they're not taking your question seriously. But if you're tall, and then me having like a certain having certain model features, then you got the height, then you approach people, they're gonna be more willing to answer your questions. I'm not gonna say you have to be like 6'7", but you do gotta look convincing. When you look convinced, you could be saying cap, you could be telling someone cap, but I'm pretty sure you got reporters who lie, and it's just like, but you look convincing to the general public. Therefore, they're convinced to give you their best response because you have a certain look, you have certain features that abide with certain beliefs and values that they have. So now they feel convicted. If they feel convicted, it's just like, yo, now I gotta answer. So
So it's just as ideal, like for a person to have height, to be asking questions and also speaking.
Mm-hmm. You gotta have height. You gotta have a certain face. You gotta be casual. That's when you don't want to approach people wearing shorts.
Do you think, what is the brain doing? Like why?
That's psychology. That's the part of I'm telling you this based on my experience. This may not even be true, but based on my experience, I would say like, yeah, man, like if I was 5'2", if I didn't have a certain face, if
exactly, what is the brain doing for them based on your experience?
the brain is the brain is telling that individual that you approaching them is convincing and believable.
Because your height, but what is it making them think of you?
Your height, your face, and then you saying certain key words. You sound like a reporter. You sound like you do this, and that's the thing too. Your word usage, you know, like you just can't come there sounding elementary. Like if you sound convincing, like you sound like you're using the right words at the right time, having all those other key factors like height, face, they're gonna be willing to answer those questions.
So if I were to word exactly what you're sharing right now, like through experience, because I've never heard of this, like it could be because of height. If I were to explain like this,
but I'm saying that's based on me. It may not be the same for other people.
Right, and I've never looked at it like that. So I'm saying if I were to take that information you just gave and put it in words, I would say that maybe the psychological reasoning why people are like considering to listen to this tall person, I think the brain is saying for someone to stand tall and they are tall, they're giving off confidence, and people probably just always respect that. So someone that's tall, I think the brain is just making them like, yo, listen to me, and they're probably so used to being the one to speak, and people look literally up to them to say what they gotta say. It's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Like if you tall, handsome, and then you have you know how to use your words, you know, people are gonna. I don't care if that person doesn't want to talk to you right now. They're gonna give in. They're gonna
hear.
Yeah.
Because friendly giants, and also like let's say you said handsome, so like let's say someone that looked crazy was Andre the Giant. So it's like, bro, they're just listening because they need to listen out of intimidation. Yeah, so that's probably something. It's like, yo, they just consider it. They connect it with the height.
But based on what I said, I feel like I could take my podcasting skills, you know, far, because it's like, I got the features, I got the experience, I even got the creativity, even asking friends back in high school, like, what if, you know. So it's just like, man, you put that together, you know, you can only go far with it. I don't see how you could not be motivated. So based on my experience, you know, people have gave me a lot of positive reviews on why I should continue this.